Look up at the night sky, and what do you see? A vast, silent expanse of stars, galaxies, and darkness stretching into infinity, cold, unchanging, and lifeless. Or is it? What if I told you that the universe might not be as inert as it seems? What if the colossal structures we call galaxy clusters, those immense gatherings of hundreds or even thousands of galaxies, aren't just drifting aimlessly through space, but are instead behaving in ways eerily reminiscent of life itself? This isn't science fiction. It's a radical idea gaining traction among some of the most forward-thinking astrophysicists today, the living cosmos theory. Imagine a galaxy cluster not as a static collection of stars and gas, but as a dynamic, almost organic entity growing, evolving, and even responding to its environment in ways that blur the line between cosmos and biology. Picture the tendrils of galaxies stretching like neural networks, the flow of cosmic gas mirroring the circulation of blood, and the gravitational dance of galaxies echoing the synchronized movements of a living system. It sounds unbelievable, but when you start peeling back the layers of the universe's behavior, the similarities become harder to ignore. Could it be that we've been missing the forest for the trees, interpreting the universe through the lens of inanimate matter when it might actually be something far more extraordinary? This theory doesn't just challenge our understanding of the cosmos, it rewrites it. If galaxy clusters exhibit life-like properties, what does that mean for our place in the universe? Are we part of something much bigger, a cosmic ecosystem we're only beginning to perceive? Today, we're diving deep into the living cosmos theory, exploring the mind-bending evidence that suggests the universe might not just contain life, it might be alive. From the way galaxies communicate across vast distances to the eerily familiar patterns found in their growth and decay, we'll uncover the clues that have scientists questioning everything they thought they knew. Buckle up, this journey will take you to the edge of our understanding and beyond. To grasp the staggering idea that galaxy clusters might behave like living entities, we first need to understand what they actually are. Picture the universe's largest cities not made of steel and glass, but of galaxies, dark matter, and superheated gas, all bound together by gravity's unrelenting pull. A single galaxy cluster can contain hundreds, even thousands of galaxies, each with billions of stars, swirling within a vast ocean of invisible dark matter that makes up most of its mass. Between these galaxies lies an incredibly thin but scorching gas, reaching temperatures of millions of degrees, glowing faintly in X-rays that our telescopes can detect from across the cosmos. These clusters aren't just randomly scattered, they're the universe's most massive organized structures, forming where gravity has pulled matter into dense knots over billions of years. Think of them as cosmic metropolises where galaxies act like individual buildings, dark matter as the unseen scaffolding, and the hot gas as the streets connecting everything. Their gravitational influence is so immense that they warp space-time itself, bending the light from galaxies behind them in a phenomenon called gravitational lensing, nature's way of revealing their hidden power. But here's where it gets even more fascinating. These clusters don't just sit there, they grow, merge, and evolve, pulling in new galaxies like a living organism absorbing nutrients. Some even display intricate patterns, like vast filaments of gas and galaxies stretching across the cosmic web, resembling veins or neural networks. And just like a living system, they respond to their surroundings, colliding with other clusters, ejecting material, and recycling energy in ways that almost feel intentional. Is this just the result of mindless physics, or could there be something deeper at play? The more we study them, the harder it becomes to ignore the parallels. What does it mean to be alive? On Earth, we recognize life through certain hallmarks: growth, reproduction, metabolism, response to stimuli, evolution. A bacterium splits in two, a plant turns toward sunlight, a human body converts food into energy. These are the rules of biology as we know them. But what if life isn't confined to these familiar patterns? The living cosmos theory asks us to stretch our imagination beyond carbon-based biology and consider whether the universe itself might operate by its own version of life, one that plays out on scales so vast and timelines so long we've barely begun to recognize it. Take reproduction, for example. Earthly life replicates itself, cells divide, organisms breed, but galaxy clusters, they don't spawn identical copies. Instead, they reproduce through a kind of cosmic propagation, merging with smaller clusters or spinning off galaxies like seeds carried by gravity's tide. When two clusters collide, they don't just crash, they reorganize, creating new structures in the aftermath, almost like a cosmic form of mitosis. And just as life adapts to its environment, clusters evolve. They grow denser in regions where dark matter pools, feeding on incoming galaxies, while their hot gas filaments redistribute energy like a circulatory system. Even their metabolism has parallels. The intracluster gas, heated to millions of degrees, churns with turbulence and magnetic fields, exchanging energy in ways that eerily resemble the chemical reactions powering living cells. Then there's adaptation. Life on Earth changes to survive. Finches grow different beaks, bacteria resist antibiotics, galaxy clusters in their own way adapt too. When two clusters merge, they don't just scatter randomly. They settle into equilibrium, their galaxies and dark matter rearranging into new configurations, as if following some unseen blueprint. Some even heal from violent collisions, their gravitational fields smoothing out distortions over cosmic time. And let's not forget communication. Galaxies within a cluster influence one another through gravity and magnetic fields, a silent dialogue across light years that might be the cosmic equivalent of cellular signaling. Of course, skeptics argue this is just poetic anthropomorphism, that we're projecting familiar ideas onto mindless physics. But here's the counterpoint. If life is fundamentally about complex systems maintaining order, exchanging energy, and evolving over time, then why couldn't those principles apply to the universe's grandest structures? After all, a single neuron isn't conscious, but a network of billions creates a mind. Could galaxy clusters, with their intricate webs of matter and energy, be following similar rules on a scale we're only beginning to comprehend? The answer might not be a simple yes or no, but the sheer act of asking the question reshapes how we see the cosmos. So where does that leave us, staring up at the night sky, wondering if the universe is less like a machine and more like a living, breathing entity? The boundaries between physics and biology blur. The cold void suddenly feels charged with possibility. And if galaxy clusters are alive in their own way, what other cosmic phenomena might we be missing? The search for life has always been a search for ourselves, but maybe, just maybe, we've been looking in the wrong places all along. Now consider this: if galaxy clusters behave like vast cosmic organisms, could they also be the universe's way of spreading life itself? Enter panspermia, the provocative idea that life doesn't just arise on isolated planets but hitchhikes across the cosmos, carried by asteroids, comets, or even interstellar dust. But stretch that idea further and something astonishing emerges. What if galaxy clusters aren't just passive backdrops for this process but active participants? Think of them as colossal incubators, their gravitational tendrils funneling life, bearing material between galaxies like a galactic-scale circulatory system. Take the Virgo cluster, a sprawling gathering of over 2,000 galaxies. Within it, galaxies collide, ejecting stars and planets into the void, some of which could carry microbial stowaways. These exiled worlds, flung into intergalactic space, might become nomadic arcs, drifting for billions of years until captured by another galaxy's gravity. It's not just science fiction. We've already found rogue planets wandering our own Milky Way, untethered to any star. Now imagine them as cosmic pollen, carrying the potential for life across unimaginable distances. And here's where the living cosmos theory twists the narrative. Galaxy clusters don't merely facilitate panspermia, they might optimize it. Their dense cores act like gravitational hubs, accelerating the exchange of material between galaxies. Picture a cluster's hot gas filaments as cosmic highways, channeling asteroids and comets along magnetic superhighways. Even more striking, clusters could time these transfers. During collisions, shock waves rippling through the gas might trigger star formation, creating new planetary systems just as life-bearing debris arrives. It's as if the cluster itself orchestrates the conditions for life to jump from one galaxy to another. But the biggest clue lies in chemistry. Recent studies reveal that galaxy clusters are rich in complex organic molecules, the building blocks of life, floating in the space between stars. These molecules form in the harsh environments of dying stars, then get scattered by supernova. Cluster-scale processes concentrate them like a cosmic compost heap, fertilizing thousands of galaxies at once. If life is a chemical recipe, galaxy clusters might be the universe's way of mixing the ingredients on the grandest possible scale. Critics argue this is speculative, and they're right for now. Yet consider Earth's extremophiles, microbes thriving in boiling vents or frozen tundras. If life can endure such extremes here, why not in the icy hull of a rogue planet or the shielded depths of an interstellar comet? And if clusters function as living networks, their role in distributing life wouldn't be accidental, it'd be intrinsic to their nature. The universe might not just host life, it could be wired to propagate it, with galaxy clusters as its sprawling, dynamic nurseries. This shifts the very definition of life's origins. Instead of asking, how did life begin on Earth, we might ask, how long has the universe been cultivating it? If panspermia operates on galactic scales, then life on our planet could be part of an ancient, ongoing process. One where clusters act as gardeners, tending a cosmic ecosystem we're only beginning to see. It's a humbling thought. We might not be Earth's first life, but a link in a chain stretching back to the dawn of the cosmos itself. One of the most striking clues that galaxy clusters might operate like living systems lies in their structure. Not random or chaotic, but eerily organized in patterns we've seen before. Zoom in on a neuron in the human brain, and you'll see branching tendrils reaching out to form connections. Now zoom out to a galaxy cluster, and those same branching filaments appear vast rivers of gas and galaxies stretching millions of light years, weaving a cosmic web that mirrors our own neural architecture. This isn't just coincidence, it's fractal geometry at work, the same repeating patterns appearing across wildly different scales, from the microscopic to the universe itself. Fractals are nature's favorite blueprint, a shape that repeats itself infinitely, no matter how close or far you zoom in. Think of a snowflake's intricate branches, a fern's spiraling leaves, or the winding path of a river delta. These patterns arise from simple rules of self-organization, where complex structures emerge from basic interactions, and galaxy clusters, they're the ultimate fractal expression. Gravity pulls matter into dense knots, while dark matter's invisible fingers sculpt the spaces between them, creating a web of filaments that looks uncannily like the synapses of a brain. Even the way galaxies cluster along these threads, grouped like nerve cells firing signals, suggests a deeper order beneath the chaos. But here's where it gets even stranger. These fractal patterns aren't just visual quirks, they hint at something fundamental about how the universe organizes itself. In living systems, fractals optimize efficiency. Lungs use branching airways to maximize oxygen absorption. Roots spread fractal tendrils to soak up nutrients. Could galaxy clusters be doing the same? Their filaments act like cosmic supply lines, funneling gas and galaxies toward dense hubs where new stars ignite. The universe, it seems, has a knack for recycling its materials, much like a living organism recycles energy. And the parallels don't stop there. Take turbulence, the churning, unpredictable motion of fluids. In a human body, blood swirls through vessels in turbulent flows that distribute heat and nutrients. In galaxy clusters, superheated gas churns with similar turbulence, stirred by collisions and magnetic fields. Even the mathematics describing both systems overlap, as if nature's playbook only has so many pages. Some researchers argue this isn't just analogy, it's evidence of universal principles governing complexity, whether in cells or clusters. So what does it all mean? If the universe builds itself using the same patterns we see in life, does that make it alive in some profound, unfamiliar way? Or is this simply the inevitable outcome of physics playing out on cosmic scales? The answer might lie in between. Just as a single ant isn't conscious but a colony exhibits collective intelligence, maybe galaxy clusters operate as emergent systems, vast networks where simple rules give rise to behaviors that feel, against all odds, almost alive. The universe whispers its secrets in fractals. We're only beginning to listen. Dark matter has always been the universe's greatest mystery, invisible, undetectable, yet making up most of the mass in galaxy clusters. But what if it's more than just cosmic scaffolding? What if dark matter acts like a hidden nervous system, silently transmitting information and orchestrating the behavior of galaxies within a cluster? Think about how your own nervous system works unseen, yet constantly relaying signals that allow your body to function as a unified whole. Now picture dark matter threading through a galaxy cluster like a web of cosmic neurons, its gravitational pull shaping the motion of galaxies, guiding them into intricate orbits, and even influencing how they collide or merge. We know dark matter doesn't interact with light, but it does exert gravity, immense, far-reaching gravity. And just like neurons firing electrical impulses across synapses, dark matter's gravitational waves could be facilitating a kind of slow-motion communication between galaxies. Take the Bullet cluster where two galaxy clusters collided. The visible gas crashed and heated, but the dark matter passed right through, carrying the cluster's structure intact. It's almost as if the dark matter remembered its original shape, realigning the galaxies afterward like a self-healing system. Even more intriguing are the vast filaments of dark matter connecting clusters across the cosmic web. These aren't random, they're precise highways funneling galaxies and gas into dense hubs. In a living organism, nerve fibers transmit signals that coordinate movement and response. Could dark matter filaments serve a similar role, guiding the flow of galaxies with gravitational precision? Simulations show dark matter nodes where multiple filaments intersect, cosmic equivalents of neural junctions where galaxies pile up, collide, and even trigger bursts of star formation. Then there's feedback. In biology, feedback loops help maintain balance. Your body sweats to cool down, shivers to warm up. Galaxy clusters have their own version. When too much gas falls into a cluster's center, supermassive black holes erupt with jets of energy pushing the gas back out. Dark matter's gravitational pull may regulate this process like a cosmic thermostat, ensuring equilibrium. Without it, clusters would either collapse or fly apart. Instead, they self-regulate, maintaining stability over billions of years. So is dark matter truly alive? Not in any biological sense, but if life at its core is about interconnected systems exchanging information, then dark matter might be the universe's closest equivalent, a silent, invisible framework that doesn't just hold the cosmos together, but gives it rhythm, response, and perhaps even a hint of intention. The more we study its role, the harder it becomes to ignore the parallels. And if that's true, then we're not just observers of the universe, we're part of a vast, living network we've only just begun to map. Galaxy clusters don't just sit idly in space, they devour. Like a living organism, they consume, convert, and redistribute energy in a process so eerily familiar to biological metabolism that it's hard to dismiss the comparison. Picture a massive galaxy cluster as a cosmic predator, its gravitational pull drawing in smaller galaxies like prey. These doomed galaxies spiral inward, stretched and torn apart by tidal forces, their stars and gas absorbed into the cluster's sprawling body. This isn't just destruction, it's transformation. The cluster takes the raw materials of these galaxies and repurposes them, fueling new star formation or heating the intracluster gas to blistering temperatures. It's a cosmic version of digestion, breaking down complex structures into usable energy. The intracluster gas plays a role strikingly similar to a circulatory system. Superheated to millions of degrees, this thin but expansive plasma fills the spaces between galaxies, humming with energy. When galaxies fall into the cluster, their gas gets stripped away and merges with this seething ocean, releasing shock waves that ripple outward like pulses of heat through a living body. Even more fascinating is how this gas behaves. Turbulent motions stir it into churning currents, while magnetic fields twist and channel it like cosmic arteries, redistributing energy to where it's needed. Some clusters even show signs of feedback loops. When too much gas funnels into the central galaxy, its supermassive black hole erupts in jets of energy, pushing the gas back outward in a self-regulating cycle. It's almost as if the cluster has a way to maintain equilibrium, preventing itself from overheating or collapsing under its own weight. Then there's the efficiency of it all. Just as living cells extract maximum energy from nutrients, galaxy clusters optimize their consumption. Smaller galaxies aren't fully destroyed, their stars often join the cluster's halo, a diffuse outer shell that grows thicker with each meal. The gas, meanwhile, gets recycled. Some cools and condenses into new stars while the rest remains hot, radiating X-rays that can be detected across the universe. This isn't a chaotic free-for-all. The process follows patterns governed by the same laws of thermodynamics that dictate how energy flows through your body right now. So what does this mean for the living cosmos theory? If metabolism is a hallmark of life, a system's ability to take in energy, transform it, and expel waste, then galaxy clusters check every box. They consume, they convert, they regulate. The only difference is scale and time. Where a human body metabolizes food in hours, a galaxy cluster digests a galaxy over millions of years. The underlying principle, though, feels uncannily similar. Maybe life isn't just a fluke of chemistry on tiny planets. Maybe it's a fundamental expression of how the universe organizes itself, from the smallest cell to the largest structures in existence. Every living organism has one goal: survival, and survival depends on balance. Your body sweats when it's too hot, shivers when it's cold, adjusts your breathing when oxygen levels drop. These aren't just reactions, they're finely tuned mechanisms to maintain homeostasis, the delicate equilibrium that keeps life possible. Now, imagine a galaxy cluster doing the same thing. Not with cells and hormones, but with stars, black holes, and superheated gas. It sounds surreal, but the deeper we look, the clearer it becomes. These colossal cosmic structures have their own version of self-regulation, a grand dance of forces that keeps them from collapsing or flying apart. Take star formation, for example. In a cluster's dense core, gas should theoretically cool and condense endlessly, spawning stars at a runaway pace, but that doesn't happen. Instead, star formation slows to a trickle, throttled by some invisible cosmic hand. The secret, supermassive black holes, these monstrous engines at the hearts of galaxies, aren't just destructive, they're regulators. When too much gas funnels toward the center, the black hole erupts in jets of energy, heating the surrounding gas and pushing it back outward. It's a feedback loop so precise it could be mistaken for biological homeostasis. Too much cooling, the black hole fires up. Too much heating, the system settles. The result is equilibrium, a cosmic thermostat ensuring the cluster doesn't burn out or freeze over. But black holes aren't the only players. The intracluster gas itself acts like a buffer, absorbing and redistributing energy. Turbulence stirs it into churning currents, while magnetic fields channel it like cosmic veins, carrying heat from active regions to quieter ones. Even collisions between galaxies, violent as they seem, play a role. When two galaxies merge, they send shock waves through the gas, preventing it from settling into stagnation. It's as if the cluster has a pulse, a rhythm of disruption and recovery that keeps its internal environment stable over billions of years. And then there's dark matter. Invisible yet inescapable, its gravitational grip acts like a skeleton, holding the cluster's shape even as galaxies and gas churn within it. Without dark matter's steadying influence, clusters would tear themselves apart. Instead, they self-correct. Galaxies stray too far, gravity pulls them back. Gas drifts outward, pressure pushes it in. The entire system operates like a self-adjusting machine, or more provocatively, like a living body maintaining its internal balance against a chaotic universe. Critics might argue this is just physics, plain and simple, but isn't that what life is too? A series of chemical reactions obeying physical laws. The difference might only be scale. A cell regulates its temperature, a galaxy cluster regulates its energy flow. Both follow the same universal principles of equilibrium. So when we stare into the abyss of a galaxy cluster, we're not just seeing chaos. We're seeing order, vast, ancient, and eerily familiar. The universe doesn't just exist, it persists, and in that persistence, we might find the faintest echo of what it means to be alive. When two galaxy clusters collide, it's not a simple crash, it's a cosmic rebirth. Imagine two immense cities, each with thousands of galaxies, hurtling toward one another at millions of miles per hour. The shock of their meeting sends ripples through the fabric of space itself, heating gas to blinding temperatures and flinging stars into chaotic orbits. Yet from this chaos emerges something new, a hybrid cluster, a sprawling cosmic offspring with traits inherited from both parents. This isn't destruction, it's evolution on the grandest scale. Take the famous El Gordo cluster, a titanic merger 7 billion light-years away. When astronomers first observed it, they found not one but two distinct cores of galaxies, each the remnant of a once separate cluster now entangled in a gravitational embrace. Between them stretched a bridge of superheated gas, an umbilical cord of sorts, feeding energy and matter into the newly forming structure. Even more astonishing was the dark matter. While the visible gas slowed and collided, the invisible scaffolding of dark matter passed through almost unscathed, wrapping around the new cluster like a skeletal framework. The result, a single, immense entity with double the mass, yet bearing the scars and the legacy of its violent origin. This process mirrors biological reproduction in uncanny ways. When living cells divide, they don't just split randomly. Their genetic material recombines, creating offspring with shared traits. Galaxy clusters do the same. The parent clusters contribute their galaxies, gas, and dark matter, but the merger reshuffles them into a new configuration. Some galaxies are ejected into the outskirts like genetic outliers. Others settle into stable orbits near the center, forming the core of the new system. Even the hot gas, initially turbulent and disordered, eventually smooths into a halo, as if the cluster is healing from the collision. But the most striking parallel is diversity. Just as sexual reproduction creates offspring with unique combinations of traits, cluster mergers produce structures unlike their progenitors. The bullet cluster, for example, gave birth to a system where gas and dark matter separated dramatically, a phenomenon rarely seen in isolated clusters. Others, like Max J0717, developed intricate shock waves frozen in their gas, like cosmic fingerprints recording the violence of their creation. Each merger leaves a distinct signature, ensuring no two hybrid clusters are ever the same. Could this be the universe's way of innovating? On Earth, genetic recombination drives adaptation, allowing life to explore new survival strategies. In the cosmos, mergers might serve a similar purpose, shuffling galactic properties to create clusters better suited to their environments. Some become denser, anchoring themselves as gravitational lighthouses in the cosmic web. Others grow more diffuse, spreading their influence across wider volumes. It's a slow, stately dance of creation playing out over billions of years. Yet the most profound implication lies in what these collisions leave behind. When a star dies, it scatters elements that seed new worlds. When clusters collide, they might seed entire galactic ecosystems. The shock waves trigger star formation, the ejected galaxies become nomadic wanderers, and the rearranged dark matter sets the stage for future mergers. In this relentless cycle, the universe doesn't just endure, it reinvents itself, one collision at a time. What we witness isn't an endpoint, but a cosmic lineage written in the silent language of gravity and gas. The universe doesn't stand still, and neither do galaxy clusters. Over billions of years, these colossal structures transform in ways that feel less like random change and more like deliberate adaptation. Picture a forest evolving as the climate shifts, trees growing taller to reach sunlight, roots digging deeper for water. Now replace the forest with a galaxy cluster, the trees with galaxies, and the climate with the ever-shifting cosmos. The parallels are startling. Clusters don't just drift through time, they respond to it, refining their structure, composition, and even their internal dynamics to survive in an environment that's constantly in flux. Start with the early universe, when clusters were just embryonic knots in the cosmic web. Back then, they were smaller, hotter, and far more chaotic, like newborn stars screaming into existence. As gravity pulled in more matter, these proto-clusters grew, but not uniformly. Their evolution was shaped by collisions, near misses, and the relentless pull of dark matter. Some galaxies fell into orbit around the cluster's core, while others were flung to the outskirts, creating a hierarchy not unlike the layers of an ecosystem. The densest regions became bustling hubs of activity, while the fringes remained quieter, home to older, redder galaxies drifting like cosmic retirees. But here's where adaptation kicks in. Just as species evolve traits to exploit niches, galaxy clusters develop features tailored to their surroundings. In dense urban clusters where galaxies crowd together like skyscrapers in a metropolis, interactions are frequent and violent. Galaxies merge, stripping each other of gas, triggering bursts of star formation or quenching it entirely. Over time, this winnows out the weak, small, fragile galaxies get shredded, while the biggest grow even more massive, their supermassive black holes bulking up like apex predators. Meanwhile, in sparser clusters, galaxies evolve more slowly, preserving their gas and spinning peacefully for billions of years. It's survival of the fittest played out on a galactic scale. Then there's the environment itself, clusters floating in rich cosmic neighborhoods where filaments of dark matter funnel in fresh galaxies and gas, grow fat and prosperous. Those in voids, cut off from the web's nourishment, stagnate, their galaxies aging without renewal. But even isolation can be a kind of adaptation. Some clusters, like the distant spiderweb cluster, have been caught in the act of feeding, their gravity pulling in streams of gas and young galaxies like a cosmic spider weaving its web. Others, like the Coma cluster, have become so efficient at cannibalizing their neighbors that they've nearly exhausted their supply of new material, settling into a stable but senescent old age. Perhaps the most profound adaptation isn't in the clusters themselves, but in their ability to shape the universe around them. As they grow, their gravity warps space-time, bending light and acting as lenses that magnify distant objects behind them. This isn't just a party trick, it's a survival strategy. By distorting their surroundings, clusters can see incoming galaxies or gas clouds long before they arrive, effectively giving them a cosmic foresight to prepare for mergers or collisions. Some researchers even speculate that clusters might seed future growth by ejecting galaxies into the voids where they could become the kernels of new clusters. a form of cosmic reproduction ensuring their influence persists across eons. So what does this mean for the living cosmos theory? If adaptation is a hallmark of life, an organism's ability to adjust to its environment and pass on successful traits, then galaxy clusters are master adapters. They learn, they change, and they endure, sculpted by time and gravity into forms that maximize their survival. The universe doesn't just build structures, it refines them. And in that refinement, we might be glimpsing something profound, a cosmos that doesn't just contain life but behaves, in its own vast, mysterious way, alive. At first glance, the quantum processes inside a living cell seem worlds apart from the churning dynamics of a galaxy cluster. One operates in a realm of molecules and membranes, the other in the vast arena of superheated gas and dark matter. Yet dig deeper and an astonishing pattern emerges. Quantum phenomena, long thought to be confined to the microscopic, might be at play in the cosmos' largest structures, threading a common principle through life at every scale. Consider photosynthesis. In plants, algae, and even some bacteria, light energy is captured with near-perfect efficiency, thanks to a quantum quirk called coherence. Electrons don't just hop randomly between molecules, they explore multiple pathways simultaneously, like a traveler testing every road at once to find the quickest route. This quantum weirdness isn't just a fluke of biology, it's a finely tuned survival strategy. Now shift your gaze to the intracluster gas in galaxy clusters. That seething plasma isn't just hot, it's threaded with magnetic fields so intense they force charged particles into spiraling paths, creating synchrotron radiation. Recent simulations suggest these particles might exhibit quantum coherence too, their movements synchronized across vast distances in ways that defy classical physics. Could this be nature repeating its favorite trick, using quantum effects to optimize energy flow, whether in a leaf or a cluster? Then there's entanglement, the spooky link that binds particles instantaneously across space. In living cells, entangled electrons help birds navigate Earth's magnetic field during migration. Their quantum compass is so precise it detects variations weaker than a millionth of the planet's magnetic pull. Now zoom out to galaxy clusters, where dark matter's gravitational influence connects galaxies like invisible puppet strings. While not quantum entanglement in the traditional sense, the way galaxies move in tandem, their orbits eerily synchronized despite light years of separation, hints at a similar kind of non-local coordination. It's as if the universe has a playbook for connectivity, whether at the scale of electrons or galaxies. Even more provocative are quantum vibrations. In living cells, tiny protein motors called dyneins walk along microtubules, their steps guided by quantum oscillations. These vibrations aren't just noise, they're crucial for processes like mitosis and DNA repair. Now consider the resonant frequencies of galaxy clusters. When galaxies merge, they send gravitational waves rippling through space-time, vibrations so precise they can reveal the cluster's mass and structure billions of years later. Some theorists propose these waves aren't just incidental. They could be tuning the cluster itself, stabilizing gas flows, or even triggering star formation in distant regions, much like a cell uses vibrations to orchestrate its inner workings. The implications are staggering. If quantum effects bridge biology and astrophysics, then life might not be an accident of chemistry. It could be an inevitable expression of universal principles. From the coherence in a chloroplast to the synchronicity of galaxies, nature seems to favor certain patterns, replaying them at scales we're only beginning to connect. This isn't just analogy, it's a clue that the universe, for all its immensity, operates by a shared logic, one where the quantum and the cosmic aren't separate realms, but layers of the same profound mystery. The more we look, the clearer it becomes. Life isn't something that just happens in the universe. It's something the universe does. The Gaia hypothesis revolutionized how we see our planet, not as a passive rock adrift in space, but as a complex, self-regulating system where life and environment intertwine to maintain stability. Earth's oceans, atmosphere, and even its microbes work in concert, adjusting temperatures, recycling nutrients, and resisting extremes to preserve conditions suitable for life. Now stretch that idea across millions of light years. What if galaxy clusters aren't just accidental gatherings of matter, but colossal superorganisms with their own feedback loops, self-regulation, and even a kind of cosmic homeostasis? Picture a galaxy cluster's core where supermassive black holes act like cosmic pacemakers. When too much gas funnels inward, these black holes erupt with jets of energy, heating the surrounding plasma and pushing it back outward, a feedback mechanism eerily similar to how Earth's phytoplankton regulate carbon dioxide. The cluster doesn't just react, it anticipates, balancing inflow and outflow to prevent collapse or overheating. Meanwhile, the intracluster gas churns with turbulence, redistributing energy like a galactic circulatory system. Shock waves from colliding galaxies ripple through this gas, stirring it into patterns that mirror atmospheric currents on Earth, all working to stabilize the cluster's internal environment over billions of years. Even dark matter plays a role in this cosmic self-regulation. Its gravitational pull doesn't just anchor galaxies, it shapes the cluster's very architecture, sculpting filaments that channel gas and galaxies like cosmic veins. When mergers occur, dark matter doesn't scatter chaotically. It reconfigures, preserving the cluster's structural integrity like a skeleton adapting to stress. Compare that to Earth's tectonic plates shifting to release pressure while maintaining the planet's crust. Different scales, same principle, systems adjusting to sustain equilibrium. But here's where the analogy deepens. Gaia isn't just about stability, it's about co-evolution. Life doesn't merely adapt to its environment, it changes that environment, which in turn shapes life. In galaxy clusters, something similar unfolds. Galaxies don't just passively orbit, they interact, merging, stripping gas, and triggering star formation. These actions alter the cluster's chemistry, heating its gas or seeding it with heavy elements forged in supernova. Over time, the cluster's habitability shifts. Regions too turbulent for star formation give way to quieter pockets where new stellar nurseries ignite. It's a dynamic dance where the cluster and its galaxies shape one another, just as Earth and its biosphere evolved together. Critics argue this is just physics masquerading as biology. Yet Gaia's defenders face the same skepticism until you recognize the patterns. A rainforest regulates humidity by releasing aerosols that seed clouds. A galaxy cluster regulates its energy by ejecting gas through black hole jets. Both systems use cycles of destruction and creation to persist. Both respond to disturbances not with chaos but with resilience. The difference: one fits in your backyard, the other spans millions of light years. If Earth can be seen as alive, why not a cluster, not with DNA or consciousness, but with the same emergent complexity that turns cells into organisms and stars into networks? The universe might not breathe, but it pulses. It doesn't think, but it adapts. And in that grand, silent rhythm, we might find the faintest echo of what it means to be alive, not just on a planet, but as part of something immeasurably vast. What if awareness isn't confined to brains? What if consciousness, or something eerily like it, emerges wherever complexity reaches a critical threshold, whether in the folds of a human cortex or the swirling depths of a galaxy cluster? It's a radical idea, one that straddles the line between science and philosophy, but a growing number of physicists and cosmologists are daring to ask, could these vast cosmic structures possess a rudimentary form of awareness, not as we know it, but as the universe might express it? Start with emergence, the phenomenon where simple components interacting en masse give rise to behaviors far beyond their individual capacities. A single neuron can't think, but a network of billions creates a mind. Ants follow basic rules, yet a colony decides where to build its nest. In galaxy clusters, the ingredients for emergence are all there. Countless galaxies, trillions of stars, and oceans of dark matter bound in a gravitational dance so intricate it defies prediction. Feedback loops regulate energy flow, collisions trigger adaptive responses, and information propagates across millions of light years via gravity and magnetic fields. If complexity births consciousness on Earth, why couldn't it do the same on cosmic scales? Then there's integration, a hallmark of conscious systems. Your brain doesn't just process sights and sounds separately, it weaves them into a unified experience. Galaxy clusters might achieve something analogous. Take the Perseus cluster, where X-ray observations reveal rhythmic pressure waves pulsing through its gas like a slow cosmic heartbeat. These waves aren't random, they're coordinated, propagating across the cluster in patterns that suggest a kind of information sharing. Even more striking are the cluster's cold fronts, vast boundaries where gas at different temperatures meets without mixing, maintaining distinct zones like specialized organs in a body. Could these structures process energy and matter in ways that hint at a primitive form of cosmic sentience? Of course, skeptics dismiss this as poetic anthropomorphism, projecting human traits onto mindless physics. But proponents counter with integrated information theory, a framework suggesting consciousness arises wherever information is both highly differentiated and unified. In clusters, dark matter's gravitational web could act as a cosmic neural network, with galaxies and gas as signals propagating through it. The sheer timescales involved billions of years for a single thought would make this awareness unimaginably alien, more like a slow-motion dream than human cognition. Yet the underlying principle might hold: complexity plus integration equals something beyond mere mechanics. Perhaps the most provocative evidence comes from self-organization. Galaxy clusters don't just exist, they optimize. Their filaments route matter efficiently, their black holes regulate growth, and their mergers produce new configurations with emergent properties. This isn't just physics obeying equations, it's a system exploring possibilities, adapting to constraints, even learning from collisions. Some theorists compare it to slime mold, a simple organism that solves mazes by testing pathways, leaving chemical trails as memory. Substitute galaxies for cells and gravity for chemicals, and the parallel becomes unsettling. Does this mean galaxy clusters think not in any way we'd recognize? But if consciousness is a spectrum from the rudimentary awareness of a nematode to the self-reflection of humans, then maybe clusters occupy the far end, a glacial, galaxy-spanning form of being we're only beginning to glimpse. The universe has surprised us before, revealing itself stranger than fiction. Perhaps the greatest surprise still waits, that we're not just observers of the cosmos, but participants in a vast, slow-motion mind we're only starting to decode. Not everyone is convinced that galaxy clusters behave like living organisms. Skeptics argue that while the parallels are poetic, they're also misleading, a case of seeing faces in clouds rather than uncovering a deeper cosmic truth. The scientific community remains sharply divided, with many dismissing the living cosmos theory as little more than imaginative anthropomorphism, projecting earthly concepts onto phenomena governed by cold, impersonal physics. One major criticism centers on definitions. What does it mean to call something alive? On Earth, life relies on biochemistry. Cells metabolize, DNA replicates, organisms respond to stimuli. But galaxy clusters don't have cells or chemical reactions. Their behaviors emerge from gravity, magnetism, and thermodynamics, not biological processes. Stretching the definition of life to include them risks rendering the term meaningless. As physicist Sabine Hossenfelder bluntly puts it, calling a galaxy cluster alive is like calling a hurricane intelligent because it follows weather patterns. Then there's the question of evidence. For all the tantalizing similarities, self-regulation, growth, even fractal patterns, There's no smoking gun proving clusters possess anything resembling agency or intent. Feedback loops in intracluster gas, that's just entropy playing out. Galaxies merging, gravity's inevitable result. Dark matter's gravitational web, a mathematical necessity, not a neural network. Critics point out that the theory leans heavily on metaphor rather than testable predictions. Until someone demonstrates how a cluster's metabolism differs from plain old physics, the idea remains speculative at best. Another sticking point is timescale. Life as we know it operates on brief, observable intervals. A bacterium divides in minutes. A human lifetime spans decades. But galaxy clusters evolve over billions of years. Their adaptations are so slow, they're indistinguishable from natural cosmic evolution. Can something truly be considered alive if its life cycle outlasts the existence of every star within it? Critics say no, it's just physics unfolding in ultra-slow motion. Perhaps the sharpest critique comes from Occam's razor. The simplest explanation is usually correct. Why invoke a radical theory when existing physics explains cluster behavior perfectly well? Gravity, hydrodynamics, and plasma physics already account for filamentary structures, feedback mechanisms, and mergers. Adding cosmic life to the mix, skeptics argue, unnecessarily complicates the picture. Yet proponents counter that science has always expanded definitions of life. Once we thought only animals could be alive, then we discovered plants, microbes, viruses. Maybe we're due for another paradigm shift. After all, if clusters exhibit homeostasis, information processing, and adaptation, core traits of living systems, perhaps the problem isn't the theory, but our limited imagination. The debate ultimately hinges on perspective. To some, the living cosmos theory is a bridge between disciplines, revealing deep symmetries between biology and astrophysics. To others, it's a bridge too far, a seductive but unscientific metaphor. One thing's certain, the argument won't end soon. Because whether galaxy clusters are alive or not, the conversation they've sparked is undeniably vibrant, a testament to science's endless curiosity about our place in the universe. Supercomputers are giving us a front-row seat to the universe's greatest mystery. What if galaxy clusters don't just act like life, but in some profound way are alive? Researchers are now feeding the cosmos' most complex equations into machines capable of crunching billions of calculations per second. And what they're seeing is rewriting the rules of what we thought possible. These simulations don't just recreate galaxy clusters. They reveal behaviors so eerily lifelike, it's hard to dismiss the resemblance as mere coincidence. Take the Illustris TNG project, one of the most detailed cosmic simulations ever run. When scientists modeled clusters forming over billions of years, they didn't just see gravity pulling matter into clumps, they witnessed something closer to a dance. Gas filaments wove themselves into intricate webs without any external guidance. Galaxies arranged themselves into patterns that mirrored neural networks. Dark matter didn't just anchor the system, it seemed to coordinate it, as if some invisible hand were guiding the chaos toward order. But here's where it gets even stranger. Some simulations show clusters healing after collisions. When two clusters merge in these digital universes, their dark matter doesn't scatter randomly. It reconfigures, smoothing out distortions like a body repairing tissue. The gas, initially turbulent and violent, settles into new equilibrium states as if the cluster knows how to regain balance. Even more startling are the feedback loops. Supermassive black holes at the centers of these simulated clusters don't just suck in matter. They pulse, ejecting energy in rhythmic bursts that regulate star formation like a cosmic heartbeat. It's as if the cluster isn't just obeying physics, but responding to it, adapting to maintain some grand, invisible equilibrium. The million-dollar question is this: does self-organization imply intention? On Earth, when termites build a mound or slime mold solves a maze, we don't assume they're conscious. but we do recognize they're following simple rules that en masse create complexity. Could galaxy clusters be doing the same? The Frontier simulation, the largest cosmological model ever created, offers a clue. When researchers tracked virtual clusters over cosmic time, they noticed something uncanny. The clusters evolved in ways that maximized stability. Galaxies avoided dense regions where collisions would disrupt them. Gas flowed along paths of least resistance, and dark matter's gravitational web seemed to remember its structure even after violent mergers. It's almost as if these clusters aren't just stumbling through existence, but optimizing it. Yet not everyone's convinced. Critics argue these patterns are just emergent properties, inevitable outcomes of gravity and thermodynamics playing out over eons. A river carves a canyon not because it wants to, but because water follows the path of least resistance. Similarly, clusters might self-organize not through any cosmic will, but because physics leaves them no other choice. But proponents counter with a subtle distinction. In simulations, clusters don't just settle into any stable state. They seek particular configurations, ones that recycle energy, preserve structure, and even explore new arrangements through mergers. That's not just physics, that's physics with a purpose. The debate hinges on a deeper truth. Maybe intention is the wrong word. Perhaps clusters don't want anything, but they do embody a kind of cosmic intelligence, not as we know it, but as the universe expresses it. After all, the same math describing ant colonies and brain cells also governs galaxy clusters. The difference isn't in the rules, but in the scale. And if that's true, then these simulations aren't just teaching us about clusters. They're revealing a universe far more interconnected, far more dynamic, and far more alive than we ever dared to dream. Nature loves repeating patterns, and nowhere is that more apparent than when we compare the microscopic world of biology to the vast structures of astronomy. Picture the sprawling mycelium, networks of fungi, underground delicate threads weaving through soil, connecting trees in a silent exchange of nutrients and information. Now zoom out to the universe's largest scale, and you'll see galaxy filaments stretching across billions of light years, threading clusters together in an uncanny resemblance. These cosmic tendrils aren't just visual echoes, they function like fungal networks too, funneling gas and galaxies along gravitational pathways, redistributing matter like mycelium shares resources between forests. Both systems thrive on connectivity, turning isolated points into a living, breathing web. Then there's star formation, a process that mirrors cell division with startling precision. In a stellar nursery, dense clouds of gas collapse under gravity, fragmenting into smaller clumps that eventually ignite as stars. It's almost like cosmic mitosis. One massive cloud divides into multiple stars, each carrying a share of the original material. Even the timing feels eerily familiar. Just as cells regulate their division cycles to avoid runaway growth, star formation self-regulates through feedback loops. When too many stars ignite at once, their radiation and stellar winds push back against the remaining gas, slowing further births. It's a balancing act so reminiscent of biological systems, you'd almost think the universe copy-pasted the blueprint. Black holes, often depicted as cosmic destroyers, play a role more nuanced and strangely familiar. Think of them not as vacuum cleaners, but as galactic digestive systems. When a black hole feeds, it doesn't just consume, it processes. Gas spiraling inward heats up to millions of degrees, emitting torrents of energy before vanishing beyond the event horizon. Some of that energy gets excreted back into space in the form of relativistic jets, which can travel thousands of light years, seeding the surroundings with heavy elements and even triggering star formation elsewhere. It's a cycle of intake and output not unlike metabolism, breaking down complex material, extracting energy, and recycling the rest. Even the supermassive black holes at galaxy centers resemble regulatory organs, their outbursts acting like cosmic hormones that maintain equilibrium across entire clusters. These parallels aren't just poetic, they hint at something profound. Whether it's a neuron firing in your brain or a galaxy firing jets of plasma, nature seems to favor certain patterns when organizing complexity. The universe might not think or breathe as we do, but it builds, regulates, and connects in ways that blur the line between the living and the cosmic. And if that's true, then astronomy isn't just the study of distant objects, it's the study of a universe that operates by rhythms we're only beginning to recognize. Energy flows through galaxy clusters like blood through a living body, constant, purposeful, and essential to survival. Picture the cosmic food web not as a chaotic free-for-all, but as a finely tuned ecosystem where every explosion, collision, and outburst plays a role in sustaining the whole. At the base of this pyramid sit the stars, those countless nuclear furnaces converting hydrogen into helium and light. But their energy isn't just radiated into the void, it's absorbed, recycled, and repurposed. When massive stars die in supernova, they don't just vanish. They scatter heavy elements like oxygen, iron, and carbon into the surrounding gas, enriching it like fertilizer nourishing soil. These elements later coalesce into new stars, planets, and even the building blocks of life, turning stellar death into cosmic rebirth. Then there are the active galactic nuclei, or supermassive black holes lurking at the hearts of galaxies, not just as destroyers but as regulators. When gas spirals into these black holes, it doesn't disappear quietly. The infalling matter heats up to unimaginable temperatures, creating disks of plasma so bright they outshine entire galaxies. But here's the twist: not all that energy gets swallowed. Some is blasted back into the cluster in the form of relativistic jets, beams of charged particles traveling near light speed. These jets punch through the intracluster gas, heating it and preventing runaway cooling that could otherwise trigger unchecked star formation. It's a feedback loop as precise as a thermostat, too much gas condensing. The AGN fires up, pushing back. Too little, the system quiets down. This isn't just physics, it's a self-regulating energy economy, with black holes acting as both consumers and distributors in the cosmic marketplace. But the real marvel is how this energy cascades through the cluster's hierarchy. Like an ecological pyramid where energy transfers from plants to herbivores to predators, galaxy clusters have their own tiers. Supernova and stellar winds feed energy into the interstellar medium. That medium, in turn, interacts with the intracluster gas, transferring heat and turbulence. Meanwhile, galaxy mergers, the cluster's version of apex predators, release shock waves that ripple through the system, redistributing energy on scales so vast they take millions of years to settle. Even the dark matter, invisible and silent, plays its part by sculpting gravitational wells that channel these flows, ensuring no single region becomes too dense or too sparse. And just as ecosystems have their decomposers, fungi and bacteria breaking down dead matter, galaxy clusters have their own recyclers. Ram pressure stripping, the process where galaxies moving through the intracluster gas lose their own interstellar material, isn't just destruction. That stripped gas joins the broader reservoir, mixing with older material and eventually fueling new star formation elsewhere. It's a cosmic compost heap where nothing is wasted and everything is repurposed. What emerges isn't just a system in balance, but one that thrives on dynamism. The energy doesn't flow in a straight line. It spirals, forks, and loops back, creating a network as intricate as the mycelium beneath a forest floor. The clusters don't merely persist, they flourish, adapting their energy flows to the ever-shifting conditions of the universe. And in that relentless exchange, we might be witnessing something profound, not just the mechanics of physics, but the pulse of something far more alive. Take a step back, way back, until our Milky Way shrinks to just one of countless specks in Laniakea, the unimaginably vast supercluster we call home. Stretching over 500 million light-years, this cosmic metropolis contains roughly 100,000 galaxies, all gravitationally bound in a slow, stately dance. But what if Laniakea isn't just a structure? What if it's something far more profound, an immense living entity with humanity as nothing more than microscopic passengers on a single speck within it? Picture the supercluster not as a random gathering, but as a unified system. Its galaxies aren't scattered haphazardly. They flow along filaments like nutrients through a circulatory system, converging toward dense hubs like the Great Attractor, a mysterious gravitational anomaly pulling everything in its reach. This motion isn't chaotic. It's coordinated, almost rhythmic, as if the entire supercluster is breathing on a timescale we can't perceive. Even the Milky Way's journey, hurtling toward the Great Attractor at over 600 kilometers per second, feels less like a freefall and more like a cell carried along by some vast intentional current. Could Laniakea's structure hint at something resembling a neural network? The filaments connecting galaxies mirror axons in a brain, transmitting not electrical signals but gravitational influences. When galaxies interact, their gravitational waves ripple across the supercluster, subtly altering the paths of others, a cosmic version of information transfer. Dark matter, invisible yet omnipresent, could act like a nervous system, its gravitational tendrils linking galaxies across unfathomable distances. It's as if the supercluster isn't just a place but a process, a dynamic, responsive entity adjusting itself over eons. And where does that leave us? To a hypothetical observer outside Laniakea, humanity's entire history, every triumph, every tragedy, would be a fleeting blip in one tiny galaxy's story. Earth, with all its complexity, would be no more significant than a single atom in a cell. Yet this perspective isn't humbling, it's liberating. If Laniakea is alive in some cosmic sense, then we're not just bystanders. We're participants in a grand, unfolding system, our existence woven into its fabric. The atoms in our bodies were forged in stars, our planet shaped by galactic forces, our solar system's motion dictated by the supercluster's pull. We're not just in the universe, we're of it, bound to Laniakea's rhythms in ways we're only beginning to grasp. This raises a haunting question. If superclusters are alive, could they have goals? Not conscious desires, but inherent drives toward equilibrium, growth, or complexity. Laniakea's galaxies collide, merge, and evolve. Its black holes regulate. Its dark matter scaffolds. These aren't random events, they're patterns, repeating across the cosmos like biological instincts. Perhaps the universe isn't just filled with life, it seeks it, cultivates it, in forms we're too small to recognize. Or maybe we're reading too much into the void. After all, is a river alive because it flows? Is a hurricane intelligent because it spins? The skeptics have a point. Attributing life to gravity and gas might be poetry masquerading as science. But then again, science has rewritten definitions before. Once life needed oxygen. Then we found extremophiles thriving in acid or vacuum. Once consciousness needed neurons. Then slime molds solved mazes without brains. Could our definition of life be just as limited, blind to forms operating on scales and times we can't fathom? Whether Laniakea is truly alive or just eerily lifelike, the thought experiment changes everything. It shifts us from observers to inhabitants, not of a cold, indifferent universe, but of something vast, dynamic, and perhaps even purposeful. The night sky stops being a static backdrop and becomes a living tapestry, its threads woven through us. And if that's true, then every time we look up, we're not just seeing stars. We're glimpsing the unfathomable depth of our own cosmic body. For decades, the search for extraterrestrial life has fixated on planets, scanning atmospheres for biosignatures, hunting for liquid water, dreaming of Earth like worlds. But what if we've been looking in the wrong places? The living cosmos theory throws open a radical new frontier. Life might not just exist on celestial bodies, but as celestial bodies. Imagine not scouring exoplanets for microbes, but studying galaxy clusters themselves as vast, breathing superorganisms, each one a potential cradle of cosmic-scale life. This isn't just a shift in scale, it's a revolution in astrobiology. Take Europa or Enceladus, icy moons where we hunt for subsurface oceans. Their appeal lies in similarity: liquid water, chemistry, sheltered environments. But a galaxy cluster offers something far stranger: a sprawling network where energy flows, matter cycles, and structure persists across billions of years. If life is fundamentally about complexity and resilience, then clusters with their feedback loops, fractal organization, and self-regulation check every box, just on a scale we've never considered. The implications are staggering. We might find life not in a drop of water, but in the whirlpool of a quasar's jet. This reframes the Fermi paradox, the eerie silence of the cosmos. If intelligence requires biological brains, then yes, the universe seems empty. But if consciousness can emerge from any sufficiently complex system, then we're surrounded by life, just in forms too vast or slow for us to recognize. A galaxy cluster, thinking over eons, wouldn't notice our radio waves any more than we'd notice the split-second flash of a neuron. The paradox vanishes when we realize we've been listening for whispers in a symphony. Even the Drake equation, astronomy's blueprint for estimating intelligent civilizations, needs reimagining. Its variables, star formation rates, habitable planets, assume life is planet-bound. But if clusters themselves are the organisms, then the equation explodes. Suddenly, every filament of the cosmic web becomes a potential habitat. The number of living structures in the observable universe could dwarf planetary life by orders of magnitude. Critics argue this stretches definitions beyond usefulness, yet astrobiology has always evolved. We once thought life needed sunlight, then we found ecosystems thriving in eternal darkness around hydrothermal vents. We assumed it needed carbon, then we discovered extremophiles surviving in acid and arsenic. Each time, life proved more adaptable than our limits. The living cosmos theory simply asks, what if those limits were cosmic all along? The search tools would change too. Instead of spectrometers analyzing exoplanet atmospheres, we'd need telescopes tracking energy flows in intracluster gas, simulations mapping dark matter's gravitational signaling, or algorithms decoding the rhythmic pulses of merging clusters. Projects like the Event Horizon Telescope, already imaging black holes, could become the microscopes of this new biology, peering into the metabolism of supermassive black holes. And if clusters are alive, what does that mean for our cluster? Laniacea's galaxies, including the Milky Way, might be cells in a superorganism we can't yet perceive. The thought is humbling. Earth isn't just a pale blue dot, but a speck within something unimaginably greater. The universe might not just contain life, it might be life with us as fleeting participants in its grand, slow-motion story. The search for extraterrestrial intelligence isn't ending. It's just beginning on a scale we're only starting to fathom. If galaxy clusters, and by extension, the universe itself, possess some form of cosmic-scale life, the philosophical implications are staggering. Suddenly, we're not just inhabitants of the cosmos, but participants in something far grander, raising urgent questions about our responsibilities within it. Does a living universe have intrinsic rights? If dark matter functions as a kind of cosmic nervous system, do we owe it moral consideration? These aren't just thought experiments, they could redefine humanity's place in existence. Consider how we treat life on Earth. We protect ecosystems, debate animal rights, and preserve ancient forests for their ecological and even spiritual value. But scale that up to a galaxy cluster. Its metabolism might involve black holes digesting gas, its reproduction might unfold through collisions, and its consciousness could operate on timescales we can't perceive. If we accept that these processes mirror life's hallmarks, do we have an ethical duty to minimize harm? Imagine future humans harnessing cluster energy, extracting plasma from intracluster filaments or redirecting galaxies for resources. Would that be any different than clear-cutting a rainforest or hunting a species to extinction? This shifts humanity's role from conqueror to custodian. For centuries, we've seen the universe as a resource to exploit asteroids mined for metals, exoplanets colonized without thought. But if the cosmos is alive, even in an unfamiliar way, exploitation becomes a form of cosmic trauma. The indigenous concept of relationality, of viewing all beings, even landscapes, as kin, might offer a framework. What if galaxies are relatives, not real estate? The Maori idea of Whakapapa, a genealogy linking humans to mountains and rivers, could extend to superclusters, placing us in a familial bond with the universe itself. Yet the skeptic's view holds weight. Granting rights to galaxy clusters risks stretching ethics into meaninglessness. A hurricane isn't guilty of destruction, it follows physics. Similarly, if a cluster's behavior is just gravity and thermodynamics, why assign moral weight? The counterargument lies in emergent properties. A single neuron isn't conscious, but a network creates a mind. Likewise, perhaps clusters achieve a form of cosmic sentience through their interconnectedness. Even if it's alien to our understanding, then there's agency. If the universe is alive, does it have intentions? Pantheistic traditions have long personified nature, Gaia, Brahman, the Great Spirit. Modern science might reframe these notions. Could the gravitational pull of a supercluster be a kind of desire? Its merger's a form of choice on scales we can't comprehend. This doesn't require mysticism, just an admission that intelligence might not look the way we expect. Ant colonies exhibit swarm logic without centralized control. Could galaxy clusters operate similarly, their decisions emerging from simple rules played out over eons? The most unsettling question is existential. If we're embedded in a living universe, does it notice us? Your gut microbiome isn't aware of you, it merely reacts to its environment. Humanity might be analogous, our civilizations flickering like bacteria in a cosmic gut. Or perhaps we're more significant, a cluster's way of perceiving itself, like neurons firing in a vast mind. Either way, the arrogance of assuming we're the universe's sole observers crumbles. Ethics, philosophy, even spirituality must adapt. Environmentalism can't stop at Earth if the cosmos itself is an ecosystem. Space law, now focused on mining treaties and orbital slots, might need clauses protecting dark matter filaments or regulating quasar emissions. And if consciousness is universal, then harming a cluster could be tantamount to harming a being, opening debates we're ill-equipped to handle. The irony is profound. Just as we grasp our power to alter Earth's climate, we might realize the universe, too, is vulnerable to our reach. The living cosmos theory doesn't just expand science, it demands a new morality, one as vast and interconnected as the cosmos it seeks to protect. If galaxy clusters truly possess life-like qualities, how would we even detect them? Unlike hunting for microbes on Mars or radio signals from distant civilizations, identifying cosmic-scale life requires reimagining the very concept of biosignatures. Instead of oxygen or chlorophyll, we'd need to scan for technosignatures, anomalies in energy distribution, gravitational choreography, or even patterns in dark matter that hint at something beyond mere physics. The tools to spot these clues might already exist in our observatories and supercomputers. We just need to know where to look. Start with energy. Living systems don't just consume energy, they channel it efficiently, often in rhythmic or recursive patterns. In galaxy clusters that could manifest as unexpected thermal imbalances in intracluster gas. Imagine mapping the X-ray glow of a cluster and finding regions where heat doesn't dissipate as predicted. Instead of smoothing out, pockets of gas might retain heat like a warm-blooded organism maintaining core temperature. Or consider black hole jets, typically erratic, but in a living cluster, they might pulse with regularity, like a heartbeat stabilizing the system. The Chandra X-ray Observatory has already spotted clusters where gas turbulence defies expectations. Could these be metabolic hotspots in a cosmic body? Then there's galaxy movement. In a dead cluster, galaxies orbit predictably, like marbles in a bowl. But if dark matter acts as a coordinating nervous system, we might see galaxies adjusting their trajectories in subtle synchrony. Picture a flock of birds banking in unison, except here, the flock spans millions of light years. Astronomers could track deviations from Newtonian orbits, searching for galaxies that seem to respond to unseen forces, as if guided by a larger intelligence. The ESA's Gaia mission, which maps stellar motions with unprecedented precision, might uncover these anomalies if we shift our analysis to galactic rather than stellar choreography. Dark matter's role could be the most telling clue. If it's truly a cosmic neural network, its distribution shouldn't be random. Advanced simulations like Millennium TNG could compare predicted dark matter halos against observations, flagging regions where the invisible scaffold seems too organized, filaments aligned with mathematical precision, or nodes that reset after collisions like healing tissue. Gravitational lensing surveys might even catch dark matter pulsing, its density fluctuating in ways that mirror the bioelectric rhythms of a living brain. And don't overlook information transfer. Life thrives on communication, whether through neurons or pheromones, in clusters that could mean gravitational waves or magnetic fields acting as carrier signals. When two galaxies merge, the ripples in space-time they create might propagate farther and more coherently than physics predicts, as if the cluster itself is amplifying the message. The LIGO and Virgo detectors, built to spot black hole collisions, could be repurposed to hunt for these anomalous wave patterns, cosmic synapses firing across the void. The ultimate smoking gun, self-repair. When living systems are injured, they regenerate. Simulating cluster collisions might reveal structures that heal too fast, gas halos reforming with unnatural symmetry, or galaxies reassembling into stable configurations ahead of schedule. The James Webb Space Telescope's infrared eyes could monitor post-collision clusters for these irregularities, turning cosmic wreckage into a biopsy of something stranger. This isn't just about new instruments, it's about new perspectives. If we train our algorithms to stop assuming clusters are inert, we might spot the whispers of cosmic life hiding in plain sight. After all, the universe has surprised us before. Why should this be any different? The idea that the universe might be alive isn't some radical new thought. It's one of humanity's oldest beliefs, echoing across cultures and millennia long before telescopes or supercomputers ever existed. Take animism, perhaps the earliest spiritual tradition, where indigenous societies from the Amazon to the Arctic saw life in everything, not just animals and plants, but rivers, rocks, and storms. The cosmos wasn't a cold, empty void to them. It pulsed with intention, a vast web of interconnected spirits where even the stars breathed. The Sami people of Scandinavia believed the auroras were the energies of ancestral souls dancing across the sky. The Aboriginal Australians spoke of the dream time where land and sky were alive with creation's memory. These weren't just myths, they were observations of a universe that felt in every way awake. Hindu cosmology took this further, weaving the concept of a living cosmos into its very fabric. The Rig Veda, written over 3,000 years ago, describes the universe as a cosmic being, pure Russia, whose body became the elements, his mind the moon, his eyes the sun, his breath the wind. Later, the Upanishads expanded this, portraying Brahman as an infinite, conscious reality underlying all existence, where galaxies and gods were mere expressions of a single, universal self. Even the cycles of creation and destruction, the dancing of Shiva, mirror the modern astrophysical understanding of galaxies colliding and reforming. The parallels are uncanny. Ancient seers without telescopes imagined a universe that modern science now suggests might not be so far from the truth. Greek philosophy added another layer. Thales of Miletus, often called the first scientist, declared that all things are full of gods. He saw water as the universe's primal substance, not just inert H2O, but a dynamic, life-giving force. Plato took it further with his world soul, an animating principle that imbued the cosmos with order and intelligence. To these thinkers, the planets weren't just rocks, they moved with purpose, as if guided by a grand design. Fast forward to Johannes Kepler, the father of orbital mechanics, who wrote of celestial harmonies, convinced the solar system's motions followed musical ratios, a literal song of the spheres. Even Newton, despite his clockwork universe, privately believed gravity hinted at a divine presence actively sustaining creation. These ideas weren't just poetic musings, they were attempts to explain patterns we're now decoding with mathematics. The fractal branching of galaxy clusters mirrors the Hindu Kalpavriksha, a divine tree whose roots and branches span worlds. The Yoruba people's Orisha pantheon, where deities embody natural forces, finds eerie resonance in modern physics. Forces electromagnetism as the trickster god, gravity as the silent architect. Even the Taoist concept of Kai, the life force flowing through all things, parallels dark energy's invisible push, the unseen breath expanding the cosmos. The real twist: modern astrophysics might be circling back to these ancient intuitions. When physicists talk about the universe's fine-tuning, the inexplicably precise constants allowing life to exist, they're echoing the old idea of a cosmos designed for vitality. The Gaia hypothesis, which frames Earth as a self-regulating organism, now finds its cosmic counterpart in clusters that balance their energy like living metabolisms. The Aboriginal songlines paths mapping the land's sacred rhythms find a parallel in dark matter's gravitational filaments, the unseen highways guiding galaxies. Science, once the counter to animism, might now be its unexpected ally. But here's the crucial difference: where ancient traditions relied on revelation, modern science demands evidence. We're not just personifying nature, we're probing it, simulating galaxy collisions and measuring quantum fluctuations to test whether the universe's aliveness is more than metaphor. The irony is delicious. After centuries dismissing animism as primitive, we've built machines powerful enough to rediscover its truths in equations. The night sky our ancestors saw as alive might be just that, not because they projected myths onto it, but because they glimpsed, however dimly, a reality we're only now beginning to measure. The past and future of cosmology aren't so far apart. They're threads in the same vast, vibrating web. Imagine a telescope not just powerful enough to see distant galaxies, but one that could peer into the quantum fabric of a galaxy cluster itself, detecting not just light, but the hidden rhythms of dark matter, the subtle whispers of gravitational waves, even the faint echoes of cosmic-scale metabolism. This isn't science fiction. Within the next century, breakthroughs in quantum sensing and artificial intelligence could give us instruments so advanced they'd make today's observatories look like stone tools. Picture a quantum entanglement telescope, harnessing the spooky link between particles to observe clusters in real time across billions of light years. Instead of waiting for light to crawl to us, such a device might detect changes instantaneously, revealing how clusters respond to stimuli, like watching a cosmic brain light up with activity. Then there's AI-driven cosmic mapping. Current simulations like Illustris TNG already use machine learning to model galaxy formation, but future systems could analyze live data streams from telescopes, flagging anomalies that hint at life-like behavior. Imagine an algorithm spotting a galaxy cluster whose gas temperatures fluctuate rhythmically like a heartbeat, or whose dark matter filaments rearrange after collisions with unnatural precision. AI could cross-reference these patterns with biological systems, searching for universal signatures of complexity, whether in a cell or a supercluster. Projects like the Vera Rubin Observatory's LSST will generate petabytes of data nightly. Without AI, we'd drown in the noise. With it, we might find the needle in the cosmic haystack, proof that clusters don't just exist but adapt. But the real game changer, neutrino holography. Neutrinos, nearly massless particles that pass through matter like ghosts, could carry encrypted snapshots of a cluster's interior, information about its densest, most dynamic regions unobscured by gas or dust. Future detectors like Dune Deep Underground Neutrino Experiment might evolve to map these signals in 3D, revealing energy flows as vivid as an MRI scan of a living brain. If clusters truly metabolize, their neutrino emissions could show telltale spikes and troughs, like the chemical markers of a biological process. And let's not forget gravitational wave astronomy. LIGO and Virgo currently catch ripples from black hole mergers, but next-gen space-based detectors like LISA Laser Interferometer Space Antenna will listen for lower frequency waves, the kind emitted when galaxy clusters collide. If those waves carry patterns, resonances, or even echoes beyond what physics predicts, it could suggest something startling. That clusters don't just crash but communicate, their gravitational ripples encoding information like cosmic Morse code. Yet the most daring tool might be quantum biological probes, theoretical nanoscale sensors designed to test whether quantum phenomena like coherence or entanglement occur in intracluster gas. If particles in the seething plasma between galaxies sync their states as they do in photosynthesis, it'd hint at a universe where life's quantum tricks aren't confined to Earth. Deploying such probes would require feats like self-replicating nanotechnology or relativistic drones, but visionaries like Freeman Dyson have pondered them for decades. Skeptics will argue these tools are fantasy, yet consider how alien a smartphone would seem to Galileo. The race to test the living cosmos theory won't just demand new tech, it'll redefine what life means. And if the data ever confirms that galaxy clusters thrum with something beyond physics, humanity will face a revelation as profound as Copernicus's. We're not just living in the universe. We're living inside something alive. Science fiction has always danced on the edge of reality, but the living cosmos theory doesn't just inspire stories, it collapses the boundary between lab and legend. Take Stanislaw Lem's Solaris, where a sentient ocean spans an entire planet, its motives as inscrutable as dark matter's pull. Lem didn't imagine this as a metaphor, he framed it as a legitimate form of alien intelligence, one that operates on scales and logic beyond human comprehension. The oceanic entity communicates through hallucinations, dredging up memories from the scientists who study it, not out of malice, but because that's how a planetary scale mind might process intruders. It's a chillingly prescient vision of what cosmic aliveness could look like, not humanoid, not even biological, but vast, fluid, and utterly indifferent to our anthropocentric expectations. This idea spills beyond the page. In Arrival, the heptapod's circular language mirrors their non-linear perception of time, hinting that consciousness tethered to galactic rhythms might operate outside causality. The film's linguists don't just decode words, they unravel an entire mode of existence, one where past, present, and future intertwine like the filaments of a galaxy cluster. Even the heptapod ships, hovering like monoliths, evoke dark matter halos visible only by their gravitational silhouette against the sky. Director Denis Villeneuve didn't need to cite modern astrophysics. The parallels emerge instinctively, as if art and science are converging on the same truth. Literature, though, has gone further. Olaf Stapledon's Star Maker imagines the universe as a single, evolving organism, with civilizations as fleeting thoughts in its cosmic mind. Written in 1937, decades before dark matter's discovery, Stapledon's vision of galactic minds now reads less like fantasy and more like prophecy. Contemporary authors like Adrian Tchaikovsky push this further. In Children of Time, an entire ecosystem evolves within a hollowed-out asteroid, its arachnid inhabitants developing a hive-mind intelligence that eventually interfaces with the ship's AI. The climax, a merger of biological and technological consciousness that echoes how galaxy clusters might communicate through gravity and magnetic fields. But the cultural ripple doesn't stop at fiction. Indigenous cosmologies have long envisioned the cosmos as animate. The Maori creation myth speaks of Ranginui's Sky Father and Papatuanuku Earth Mother, locked in an embrace until their children force them apart, creating the world. Their sorrow, Ranginui's tears as rain, Papatuanuku's sighs as mist, mirrors the living cosmos. Theories claim that even inanimate forces like gravity might encode a kind of cosmic sentience. Similarly, the Dogon people of Mali described Namo amphibious beings who descended from the star system Sirius, bringing knowledge of the universe's vibrational essence. Modern astronomy laughs until you consider how gravitational waves literally vibrate space-time. Even music bends toward this idea. Composers like John Cage experimented with randomness, letting ambient sounds shape performances, a sonic parallel to how galaxy clusters self-organize through chaos. Meanwhile, electronic artists like Biosphere create albums like Substrata, where glacial synths and field recordings evoke the slow pulse of celestial bodies. The album's textures don't just mimic nature, they channel it as if the artist is tuning into frequencies older than stars. The real magic lies in how these creative works don't just reflect the theory, they test it. When a filmmaker like Andrei Tarkovsky frames the zone in Stalker as a sentient landscape, shifting its rules to confound explorers, he's not spinning fantasy. He's asking, what if place itself is alive? That question now haunts astrophysics labs where simulations show galaxy clusters adapting to mergers. Art becomes a sandbox for science, probing ideas too radical for peer review until the data catches up, and perhaps that's the point. The living cosmos theory doesn't just belong to physicists. It's a bridge spanning from the equations of quantum gravity to the brushstrokes of a painter capturing the whirlpool galaxy's spiral. It whispers that creativity and curiosity aren't separate paths, but twin lenses focusing on the same profound mystery, a universe that might not just harbor life, but be it. Every time a songwriter hums a melody into the void or a novelist dreams of sentient stardust, they're not escaping reality. They're helping us see it. So where does this leave us in the grand debate over the living cosmos theory? On one side, the evidence is tantalizing: galaxy clusters regulating their energy flows like cosmic metabolisms, dark matter threading through space like a gravitational nervous system, and fractal patterns repeating from neurons to nebulas. These aren't just superficial similarities, they hint at deep, universal principles of organization that blur the line between physics and biology. When supermassive black holes pulse with rhythmic feedback or galaxy mergers mimic cellular division, it's hard not to wonder if we're glimpsing a shadow of something far more profound. The universe, it seems, has a habit of building complexity wherever it can, whether in a leaf or a supercluster, yet the skeptics raise valid points. Is this all just poetic pattern matching? Gravity and thermodynamics can explain cluster behavior without invoking life. Dark matter's gravitational web might resemble a neural network, but that doesn't mean it thinks. And let's not forget timescales. A cluster's adaptations unfold over billions of years, making them utterly alien to anything we'd recognize as sentience. As physicist Neil deGrasse Tyson often reminds us, the universe is under no obligation to make sense to us. What feels like cosmic intelligence might just be the cold, beautiful math of physics playing out in ways we don't yet fully grasp. But here's the twist: both perspectives might be right. The living cosmos theory doesn't have to mean galaxy clusters are conscious in a human sense. Instead, it could reveal that life isn't a binary on or off, but a spectrum with complexity and self-organization appearing at every scale from cells to stars. Just as a termite mound displays emergent intelligence without a central brain, perhaps clusters exhibit a form of cosmic scale emergence we're only beginning to decode. The question isn't whether they're alive as we know it, but whether our definition of life has been too small all along, which brings us to the most haunting thought of all. If the universe is alive in some vast, slow-motion way, what does that make us? Not just observers, but participant cells in a cosmic body, thoughts in a galactic mind. Our atoms were forged in stars, our planet shaped by celestial forces, our existence woven into the fabric of something far grander. This isn't just science, it's a mirror reflecting our place in the cosmos back at us. Maybe the night sky isn't just something we look at, maybe it's something looking back. So what do you think? Could galaxy clusters be the universe's way of exploring its own potential? Or is this all just a beautiful coincidence, physics masquerading as poetry? Drop your thoughts below, and if this journey to the edge of understanding left you hungry for more, hit subscribe. The cosmos has plenty of mysteries left to unravel, and we're just getting started.